Stop, start and stop again. Swedish industrial output dropped in March, adding to pressure for rate cut from the central bank. But will this be enough to get Scandinavia's largest economy back on track? Anders Eklof joins me down the line to discuss. Anders, according to some analysts, a single figure isn't necessarily so important, but this increases the insecurity about how the industry is doing and also increases downside risks to Q1 GDP figures. So what impact does this data feed have on your outlook, especially given that markets may have already priced in a rate cut?
My take on this is that the Riksbank is very much focused on the inflation now, and they have been surprised on the downside. We had inflation, core inflation, close to zero last time. We've had some strong activity numbers, considering, for instance, retail sales, and we have some very slow pickup in the industrial sector, but that's already a known fact. So I guess that the Riksbank is just go ahead for a rate cut. So and the focus in inflation in the near term, and that is more or less priced, but still it will weigh on the currency in the near future.
The government is working on a roadmap to deal with the debt build-up. However, some analysts weren't quite so convinced, saying that the government should focus on measures to stimulate housing construction and also consider making Swedes pay down their mortgages faster. Where should this so-called roadmap lead to, do you think?
But I think everyone in Sweden, all the policymakers included, are well aware of this problem, and there are measures being taken to try to take down debt. But it's a fact that the thing that will be done over a long period of time, including more housing construction, etc. And I think that policymakers are afraid to move ahead too quick, because that if interest rates go up too fast, for instance, due to burden on the banks, it can actually cause more trouble and pain because households are very interest rate sensitive. So I think it's a matter of a slow adjustment that is needed in this respect. And I think that the recent information from the FSA, etc., gives the Riksbank clearance to go ahead and cut, and they can focus less on this financial stability problems that we have in Sweden.
Some economists believe Sweden is flirting with deflation. Riksbank received criticism that monetary failures had turned the nation into a Scandinavian version of deflation hit Japan, a claim which subsequently received a staunch rebuttal from the central bank. What do you make of this whole debacle?
We disagree sharply on this, that to compare Sweden with Japan history, and we note that Swedish in long-term inflationary expectations are very, very stable. Swedish economy is actually underlying quite okay. It's a little bit struggling, but it's strong on a fundamental basis, and most of the reasons behind the inflation comes from abroad, I guess. So it's not a matter of that Swedish consumers are expecting any deflationary tendencies and are postponing consumption, for instance.
Elsewhere, Norges decided to maintain their rate today, in line with most market expectations. The Norwegian krone strengthened against the euro and most other pairs immediately after the move. But how do you see these two Scandinavian currency pairs heading up against each other over the coming months?
We expect the Norwegian krona to a little bit outperform the Swedish krona, to stay on a little bit more elevated levels, and we want to see the Swedish Riksbank rate cut behind us before really turning around and going for a little bit stronger Swedish krona against the NOK. That said, I would say that the Swedish krona has quite big uncertainties ahead of it, because we have a potential pending big M&A flows into the Swedish krona if this deal between Volkswagen and Scania goes ahead. So there is like a certain short-term flow uncertainty in Swedish krona.
Anders, thank you so much for your time and insights today. Well, viewers, that's all from me for the moment. Don't forget, the TV team will also be bringing you today's Commodities Corner, so make sure you keep clicking back for that. Bye for now.